Alright, so this is going to be a quick craft for a Paladin Glove with Armor ES prefixes and Fire Convert and Fire Res. We're going to be using 28 quality bases here. These were 2 div pre-split, so basically 2 and a 3 div for 3 pairs of gloves. You're going to want level 85 for the tier 1 suffix, but in this case it's not too important because you're using Supreme Ostentation, so you don't need stats. We're going to start with these white and Orb of Remembrance them. We're going to have to fracture a prefix to make this a lot easier. So, in this case, I'm going to use the Fire Res Essence to get them 2 rare, and then spam Dense until I get a T1 prefix. In this case, we don't want the percent energy shield and armor with stun block recovery. We only want the tier 1 armor ES and armor ES percents. So you can do this part with dense fossils, or you can do it with harvest reforge. There are a lot of defense mods though, so I prefer to use the dense fossils. They are fairly expensive at around 20C each. Okay, so in this case we get our armor and energy shield percent, 96% fracture, misses. Next one. So the flat armor and energy shield has a very large roll range, so fracturing it is pretty difficult if you want a decent rolled one. Actually, unravel the strands using this Orb of Unraveling to upgrade the tiers. That way you don't actually have to always hit double tier 1, or just to tier 1 in general. Alright, another tier 1. Missed it again. So you can use Recom to clear up the mods sometimes. You'll get one just like this with no fracture on it. And then you can use Dense again. In this case I had a 99 roll. And I missed the fracture, so Recom these two together with the unpredictable Recom. Okay, in this case, I actually hit the tier 2 and the tier 1, so I can annul a suffix using Eldritch Currency and Unravel to upgrade that tier 2 to a tier 1. And it did not. Okay. So I'm just going to slam 2 more affixes and fracture again. Of course, I fractured the tier 2. So I hit one of them. Put these 2 to the side. So now we're just going to use dense fossils for the other 1 mod that we want. Which in this case is flat. You could also harvest Reforge. This step is much easier to harvest Reforge because you only need 1 mod. There's tier 1 again. Okay. So now, this next step, you're going to want to look at the cost of Wild Bristle Matrons. There are 5 different options for Wild Bristle Matron, which is prefixes cannot be changed, suffixes cannot be changed, and the 2 meta mods with, cannot roll attack, cannot roll caster, and can have multiple crafted mods. So currently Wild Bristle Matrons are 60C, which is significantly less than the 2 div it takes to craft prefixes cannot be changed here, this mod. So it would be cheaper in the long run to just use a bunch of Wild Bristle Matrons until you get prefixes cannot be changed. In this case, I'm not going to do it for the sake of the video. I'm just going to spend the 2 div to craft this. And we're going to Veiled Chaos. This is a 50-50 to add your Veiled mod to the prefix. In this case, I got it.
Exile.
And I'm looking to unveil a convert to cold or convert to fire. Convert to cold is slightly better due to cold to fire gem having some percent cold gain as fire. So in this case, I got it. And now I'm going to finish these suffixes using Eldritch Currency. So I want to make sure the Eater is dominant on the item and grab a bunch of these. So here we're looking for a tier 1 res again, and any suffix that is usable. Mana per enemy killed is actually a good suffix in this case. The mana per enemy killed is a flat mana, and you have a lot of reserved mana. So it actually allows you to sustain completely, even on a map with no regen, or if you take the altar for less regen. Or less recovery for per endurance charge. Rarity is also a good suffix. Life regen percent is also a good suffix. The only ones that aren't useful are chaos res and attributes. So dex here and attack speed. Any T1 res. ES recharge rate is also useful, although not quite as much. If your Aurabot is running Vault Discipline, it will apply to you. That's about the only case, though. Okay, so now you can craft Dex and Int to block. You can do that between every slam. It's not really important. You just don't want a fire res. I'm actually going to swap this lightning to fire res so that I don't hit a low tier fire res. Due to the nature of Aurabots, you and this build in general, you don't really need any other res. You just want anything else. There you go. 5 mana per enemy killed. Whatever suffix you decide to land on is good enough. And then the only step left is to do your Eldritch Implicits. You want, there you go, Fizz converted to cold, at least 15%. You only need 50%, sorry, from your implicit and your prefix modifier for convert, because Avatar of Fire here, where is it? I think I may have it replaced. But Avatar of Fire converts the remaining 50% of physical straight to fire. The more Fizz converted to cold you have, the more damage you will get, but it's very minimal and not too important. And the other one is Unnerve. There we go. Finally, use Sacred Orb, Link, whatever you would like to do. The suffix craft is Global Crit Chance and Elemental Damage. This mod right here.